Day 12 of our Everyday with Jesus devotion. Jesus is the friend of sinners. Have you ever had lunch with a large group of people and wondered where you were going to sit? Meals can be an opportunity to include people or to exclude people. Meals can create barriers or break them down. The person or people that you sit and eat with at lunchtime often tells onlookers who you accept and embrace. Meals in Jesus' day told a similar type of story. The religious leaders often criticized Jesus for the people whom he ate with. Because in that culture, meals were a symbol of friendship and acceptance. And what surprised others was that Jesus ate with people who were messed up, sinful, and seemed far from God. When the teachers of the law, who were Pharisees, saw him eating with the sinners and tax collectors, they asked his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" Mark chapter 2, verse 16. But Jesus responds by saying, "I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." Mark chapter 2, verse 17. Part of Jesus' identity was his reputation for being a friend of sinners. And if you imagine God's kingdom as a party, the Pharisees only want to invite those who are socially acceptable, the morally upright, citizens of the day who keep the rules and appear very religious. Jesus, on the other hand, invites everyone. It does not matter what you have done or how badly you have messed up. You are invited to God's party through a relationship with him. There is room at his table for the rebels and the lawbreakers. And this infuriates the Pharisees because they thought that holiness, moral purity, or right behavior led to a relationship with God. But Jesus knew and acted like holiness or right living resulted from a relationship with God. To say it another way, instead of change before God can love you, Jesus invites us to believe. God loves you and his love can change you. Jesus does not start with lifestyle. He starts with God's love, knowing that God's love will, over time, change our character and our lives. Through Jesus, God invites us to belong before we believe, and even before we behave, because our invitation to God's party is not based on our goodness, it is based on his grace. Jesus' table was telling a story about God's gracious acceptance of all different types of people. Who can you reach out to in the next week and to share a meal with? Once again, Jesus went out beside the lake. A large crowd came to him and he began to teach them. As he walked along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax collector's booth. "Follow me," Jesus told him, and Levi got up and followed him. While Jesus was having dinner at Levi's house, many tax collectors and sinners were eating with him and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. When the teachers of the law, who were Pharisees, saw him eating with the sinners and tax collectors, they asked his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" On hearing this, Jesus said to them, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." Mark chapter 2, verse 13 to 17. Well, congratulations on finishing today's devotion. We'll see you tomorrow.